The story begins with a man named Ken, who is unemployed and spends most of his time playing video games. One morning, Ken is sitting in his living room playing a game when his wife, Emmy, interrupts him. She tells him there's a strange robot wandering around in their garden and asks what they should do about it. Ken, feeling annoyed, ignores Emmy's concerns and continues to play his game. Emmy then asks Ken about the job interview he went to a few days ago, but Ken doesn't respond and just walks away, heading towards the garden. There, under a tree, he finally sees the robot Emmy was talking about. Ken, curious about the little robot, starts asking it some questions, but the robot doesn't really answer, and instead just repeats whatever Ken says. When Ken asks for the robot's name, the robot replies that its name is Tang. Ken, not knowing what to do with the robot, decides to take Tang to a local shop that deals with electronics. At the shop, the owner tells Ken that they can't recycle the robot because it doesn't have a serial number, but they could take it apart and dispose of it in pieces. Ken considers leaving Tang at the shop, feeling that it might be the easiest thing to do. However, as Ken starts to walk away, Tang calls out his name and Ken stops in his tracks. He turns around and sees Tang looking at him with a sad expression. In that moment, Ken and Tang share a meaningful look, filled with emotions. Ken hesitates but eventually says goodbye to Tang and walks away, leaving the robot behind. Ken was heading home, unaware that Tang, the little robot, was quietly following him. Along the way, Ken bumps into his sister. She asks him about the job interview she had recommended to him, but Ken, as usual, avoids the question and just continues on his way without saying anything. Meanwhile, Emmy, Ken's wife, receives a call from the medical center where Ken was supposed to have gone for the interview. Just as the call ends, Ken arrives home, leaving the gate open behind him. Following him closely, Tang sneaks into the house as well. Once inside, Tang scans all the family photos around the house and stores them in his memory. Emmy is busy doing some work in the storage room when Ken approaches her, showing her a tool he found, claiming it could be useful. However, Emmy looks annoyed and confronts him. She says, "I got a call today from the place your sister recommended for your interview. Do you know what they said? They told me you never showed up." Ken, seemingly uninterested, responds with, "I forgot to go," and tries to walk away. Ken often comes across as lazy and dismissive, and this time Emmy doesn't let it slide. She's tired of him constantly ignoring her, so she presses him, asking, "Why didn't you go for the interview? I want a straight answer." As their argument heats up, Emmy suddenly notices Tang standing quietly behind Ken, watching them. Ken is shocked when he sees Tang in the house. He thought he had left Tang at the shop for disposal, so he can't understand why the robot is there. Avoiding the real question of why he didn't go to the interview, Ken tries to distract Emmy by showing her a watch and saying, "Look, you're running late," but the watch is broken and shows the wrong time. Frustrated, Emmy begins fixing the watch and vents her feelings, saying, "What luck do I have? I have to do everything in this house: work, chores, and errands." In her anger, Emmy throws the watch aside and in a burst of frustration, throws Ken out of the house as well. Ken, feeling sorry for himself, ends up sitting at a bus stop with Tang, waiting for the bus. As they sit there, Ken notices something leaking from inside Tang. He takes off his socks and uses them to clean the leaking spot. While doing this, he spots a logo from a company inside Tang. Curious, Ken searches for information about the logo and discovers the company's website, which offers to exchange old robots for new ones. Deciding to trade Tang in, Ken takes the robot to the airport, but Tang causes all sorts of trouble on the plane, annoying Ken even more. To distract himself, Ken turns on the in-flight TV and starts watching cartoons. In one of the cartoon shows, there's a message that says, "Friendship is greater than treasure," which leaves Ken thinking as the scene cuts away. In the next part of the story, Ken and Tang arrive at the company, hoping to exchange Tang for a new robot. However, they find out that the company is closed for the day, so they decide to stay at a nearby hotel overnight. That night, Ken has a troubling dream. In his dream, he sees his father undergoing surgery in a hospital, and all the doctors are looking at Ken,